Hey guys, this is Jason Lanier and I'm going to tell you guys all about high-speed sync. Guys, one of the most frequently asked questions I get is about high-speed sync. I get asked all the time how to do it, what it means, why it's important. It's something I teach a lot at my workshops, so if you want to learn more about it than this video is going to teach, go to jasonlanier.com/workshops and you can find a workshop that works for you. I will teach it at any of my workshops. But what I wanted to do today, guys, was kind of go through and before you think this is just going to be a talking video, you're wrong. I have a pleasant surprise for you. I'm going to mix this in with a shoot that I did of a beautiful girl named Amy Jacobson on a beach out in Tasmania, Australia, and I think you guys will really enjoy that. And you're really going to see how having that flash can just give you a pop. And wow, I mean, look at those skies, those fake skies we always talk about or joke around, you know, with my videos and shots. Because I actually narrated the entire shoot, so you guys can actually understand what we did. You can see the differences between when the flash worked versus when it didn't work. You can see when she was lit versus unlit. You can see, I give you examples of a natural light versus a shot with a flash. I want to give you guys a good understanding as to what high-speed sync means and how it can help you and your photography. So before we get started, guys, let me just explain the definition of high-speed sync in layman's terms. I am not a super techie, geeky guy, guys. I am kind of the people's photographer, if you will. I like to explain things in real English. The way high-speed sync works is very simple. All of our cameras, whether it's a Sony a6000 or a Nikon D7200 or whatever it is, every camera has a flash sync speed. The flash sync speed is where your flash will normally work with your camera. Meaning when you trigger the shutter on your camera, your flash fires and it illuminates your composition. The only drawback to that is on most cameras, we are limited on our flash sync speed. The a6000, for example, is limited at 1/160th of a second. Most cameras will go to 200ths or 250th of a second. Some cameras go to 400ths of a second. Well, that was before high-speed sync came into our lives as photographers. See, now we have the opportunity to shoot pretty much at the maximum shutter speed of our respective cameras. Meaning we can shoot at 4,000ths of a second, that's the max shutter speed on the a6000, or we can shoot at 8,000ths of a second, which is kind of the industry norm for most bigger cameras. So that's going to cover, you know, a lot of the Nikons, Canons. It's going to cover all of the A7 series, the full frame mirrorless cameras with Sony. I just want to put this out there. This video isn't just about Sony. This is about everybody being able to use high-speed sync. There will be some Sony specific things in here, but it won't be too much. And the reason I want to do that is I just want to teach what high-speed sync is, regardless of what you use. The good news is for Nikon and Canon users, you guys already have a plethora of options available to you with high-speed sync. The good news for Sony users is in the last year, we have seen a huge shift in manufacturers coming to the table and offering us high-speed sync options. The video that you're going to watch is actually a video that I shot before these options were available. This was shot in November of 2015 in Australia, as I said. And what I did was I used a simple configuration where I used 4 different Sony cameras. And again, it doesn't matter what you shoot, I don't care. But 4 different Sony cameras to show that it could be used on all 4 of them. At the time, I used the A7R2, A7 II, A7S, and the A6000. I put a Pixel King trigger onto the hot shoe of, onto the hot shoe of the camera. And then, this is just a basic configuration here, guys. Then so this is the transmitter. Guys, this is the transmitter. This is what transmits the signal to the receiver. This is a basic setup, okay? Then you take a PC sync cable, which is one of these guys. It has this weird little dealio on the end. Looks like Beaker or something from Muppets. And it goes right on here into this space here, the PC sync input, or the port. You slide it in there. Now you have a PC sync cable attached to your receiver. Well, here's what happens. All this does is I have here a ProPhoto B1. Now I've used the Flashpoint Rove light. That's actually what I shot the video with. I've used the Interfit S1. I've used the Photox Indra. And this is the ProPhoto B1. All of them have a PC sync input. Okay. This, on the ProPhoto B1, the PC sync input is right here. It just looks like a headphone. connectors. Just like looks where you plug your headphones in. It's the same exact size. This guy goes in here, okay? And guess what? I can now fire high speed sync, or in some lights cases, I can fire hypersync, and I'll explain that in a minute. I can fire and get all the shots I want at a maximum shutter speed. Now for the Sony users out there, I always get this question, what triggers are these? These are the Pixel King's wireless TTL flash triggers. Okay, that's what they are, guys. And you can't find these at B&H or Adorama. You have to get these guys off eBay or Amazon. I think they're like 100 or something bucks, 200 bucks maybe. So like I said, Canon and Nikon already have a lot of great options. You know, speed lights, for example, the speed lights for Canon, Nikon, and Sony are all now high-speed sync capable. You just have to make sure you turn the high-speed sync on your flash, turn it to on. Some of the flashes will automatically detect when you're in high-speed sync because you actually go over your flash sync speed. So if you're on your camera at 2/50th of a second and you push it up, what ends up happening is on some of the on some of the newer flashes for Canon, Nikon, Sony, it'll automatically adjust and you'll see a little high-speed sync. Sometimes it's like a lightning bolt. You'll see an icon pop up on the flash letting you know that you are shooting in high-speed sync. You need to be careful. Some of the flashes will only fire, like the Sonys will only fire high-speed sync when the flash is at 90 degrees for some reason. Other flashes won't. You have to find the best one that works for you. There's other third-party manufacturers that have speed lights that work in high-speed sync. Yongnuo and Nissan have some of them. Phoenix has some by the Metros system. I have gone away from those, and the reason I've gone away from using speed lights for any of my high-speed sync work, unless I'm in a huge pinch, is very simple. You use high-speed sync to overpower the sun. Speed lights typically aren't powerful enough to do that. And or if they are, the recycle time on them is very bad. A lot of the times when you're shooting with high-speed sync, you're shooting at very high power ratios, meaning you're shooting at 1:1 or half power, quarter power. That has a serious drain on the battery. I know that when I use the Phoenix Metros, for example, when I would shoot in high-speed sync, I would get 10-15 minutes out of those flashes and I was done. I've used the Nissan systems, and when I use the Nissan systems, my big complaint about those is, quite frankly, the flash fires very inconsistently. The Yongnuos is a great, cheaper option, but I've had a lot of inconsistency issues and a lack of power and recycle time. Now, they're only 80-90 bucks, so you get what you pay for. I get that. But when it comes to high-speed sync, when you're getting serious about it, I think you move into the mono lights, okay? This, for those who don't know, this is a monolight. What does a monolight mean? A monolight means that it's all one unit, meaning that it's all self-contained. There's no cables, attached batteries, all that stuff. The battery is actually on the unit. I love monolights. I've used many, like I said earlier, from many different manufacturers. I use 4 or 5 different monolights. In this video, you're going to see me use the Flashpoint Rove light. That's a great cheap option for those out there, cheap being a relative term. It's about $400 or $500. It's great because it works. I've used it in many, many videos. I no longer use it because, quite frankly, it broke on me. And the recycle time on the Rove light was it's like 4 or 5 seconds. Some of the examples that you'll see in the video, when you see the flash not fire, that's part of the problem with using a system like the Rove light. It's great for a setup shot, but if you're doing like a model fashion shoot like you're going to see me do in the video, it's tough because what ends up happening is the flash doesn't fire when you need it to, and sometimes there's that perfect moment. I found that when I shot with the Rove light at weddings, again, it's a great light, but because of that recycle time, I would miss moments when I wanted to shoot in high-speed sync, and that was a bummer. I love the Pro Photo, for example, because it has the fastest recycle time in the business. So why is it that you want to shoot high-speed sync? Why do you need to exceed your flash sync speed on your camera? That's the million-dollar question. Well, it's simple. If you want to shoot portraits, if you want to shoot with a wide aperture, you have to have a fast shutter speed. See, if you're stuck at 2/50th of a second, but you want to shoot at f1.4, f1.8, f2.2, f2.8, whatever it may be, you can't do that. You're going to take a picture. Every single thing in the picture is going to be blown out. Nothing will be in exposure. It will be awful. You don't want that, guys. So that's where high-speed sync comes into play. So when would you see me using high-speed sync or other photographers? You're primarily going to see us using high-speed sync when we're outdoors and when we're battling the sun. You're going to see us using high-speed sync when we want to overpower the sun. We want the monolight to be more powerful on the sun, so we drag down the exposure in our cameras. to be able to expose for the clouds, expose for the background, expose for whatever we want to. And then we use the light to illuminate our subject. You can do this for groups, you can do it for individuals, a couple, whatever it may be. You just have to choose the most powerful light that works for you, and you have to choose the best modifiers. In this video, you're going to see that I didn't use any modifiers. I just took what Adorama sells out of the box with the Flashpoint Rove light. It's not the softest light because it wasn't diffused. I knew that when I shot it, guys. This was just a simple tutorial on how to use high-speed sync. One more thing I want to talk about before we move on to the shoot is understanding the difference between hypersync and high-speed sync. I think it's safe to say that within this calendar year, my guess would be that every manufacturer, every major manufacturer has a Sony system in place. Many of them, almost all of them, already have a Nikon or Canon system in place. But I'd venture to say that by the end of this year, if not earlier, all of them will. Photox just came out with a new system where there's a built-in transceiver inside of the monolight for Sony users. I know others are coming out, but I'm not at liberty to speak about those right now. But trust me, guys, for Sony users, they are coming. Godox just came out with one, for example, that I had a chance to use. There are a lot of options coming for Sony users. But what I've been doing, because I get asked most frequently about my setup with the Pro Photo. Truth be told, the Pro Photo is a hypersync system. It's hypersync only for Sony, meaning I have to fire this at 1:1. See, when you're firing in hypersync, what the flash is doing is letting out one big long flash. And you have to fire it at full power for you to be able to shoot above your flash sync speed. You're still using the same high-speed sync triggers, but you're only getting hypersync. See, when you have high-speed sync, like you'll see me do on the Flashpoint Rove light, what ends up happening when you're shooting in high-speed sync is you can adjust your power ratios, usually 1/1/16 of a second or even smaller. And the benefit of doing that is you don't burn through your battery. The best way to know the difference between the two is this. If you cannot fire it less than 1:1 on a light, it's a hypersync setup for your camera. This same Pro Photo B1 can fire high-speed sync on Canon and Nikons. On a Sony right now, I'm hypersyncing it. And in the near future, I'm hoping that I'll be able to use this in high-speed sync as well, because that will increase my battery life. And the other benefit to that is I don't have to take the light so far away. See, when you have to shoot in hypersync, because you have to shoot at 1:1, you have to take the flash usually at least 10 feet away. Otherwise, it overpowers your subject. So we did a shoot recently in New York, and my assistant was holding the flash, even in Times Square with all these people, he was holding it 12, 15 feet away. So understand that. The last light I wanted to just mention real quick is the Innova Pro. Now I am sponsored by Rotolite, and Rotolite makes the Innova Pro. But the Innova Pro is the first LED light and I have videos out on this. There's a link here, you watch it if you want. But the Innova Pro is the first LED that fires in high-speed sync as a flash, the first professional grade quality LED to do that. It's truly an amazing light. So I wanted to just explain those things, guys. I hope I've covered all of the major issues. I hope you guys enjoy the shoot. And I'll just say this, guys. I have nothing against natural light. I say it all the time. I'll always choose natural light first if it's an option available to me. But photographers need to learn flash. And photographers need to learn high-speed sync. And they need to learn how it can impact their photography for their clients. See, there may be a time where your client says to you, well, the clouds are beautiful. Can you get a shot of me with the clouds? Well, if you only know how to do natural light, your only option is if the sun is behind at your back. What if you want to shoot a certain direction? Well, you're going to have to overpower the sun to get those clouds. That's where high-speed sync comes into play. So guys, I hope this has helped. Enjoy the video, and please let me know what questions you have. All right, guys, so I'm just going to kind of walk you through the videos here. This is out in Tasmania. This was shooting with the A6000. Now, with the A6000, you have to shoot at 4 thousandths of a second. The maximum shutter speed on the A6000 is 4 thousandths of a second. So, you know, most cameras, will go up to 8,000, some 4,000. And here you see one of the key benefits to high-speed sync. It's getting everything in some great exposure. I switched here to the A7S with a 55mm Sony Zeiss. You know, and guys, one of the main reasons, you know, we always joke around about my fake skies or stuff. one of the main purposes of high-speed sync is to get shots like this. So in this shot we have the sky, we have her skin, we have the sweater, we have everything in proper exposure. There's nothing that's blown out or underexposed. Versus this shot where the flash didn't fire, and as a result, I had to bring everything up in post, and her sweater is blown out, the background's blown out, the sky's gone. It's a very pretty shot because she's a beautiful girl, but we lost all the dynamic range. We lost the exposure in the image. So here I'm going to switch out now to the A7 II. Here I put on a really wide angle lens. This is the widest that I shot. I shot these at 16 millimeter, and you're really going to see how having that flash can just give you a pop. And wow, I mean, look at those skies, those fake skies we always talk about or joke around, with my videos and shots. More shots coming up here showing just how amazing everything can look when you have light and when you're getting everything into proper exposure. Again, I'm not against shooting this natural light, but the thing is I would lose those clouds. I would lose these beautiful clouds. I'd lose the darkness of the bottom of the ocean there. This is a place where the tide is huge, and so it goes out for miles, and you come back here 5 hours later and this is completely covered in water. And so it gives you these opportunities to get these amazing shots. So using high-speed sync is truly a benefit in a scenario like this. One thing that you'll notice in these shots, you're looking at the flash point there, is that I'm not using a beauty dish, not using a reflector, not using a modifier, nothing like that. This is just straight. There's a tiny little plastic piece of diffuser on there, which would make this a softer shot. And again, here's another example of flash versus no flash. You see the big difference. You'll see the exposure is the same in those two shots, but her exposure obviously is not. So here's another shot. Give you guys a great example of what we're talking about. See, there's the skies there because I didn't bring it up in post, but that's what happens when you don't have the flash. This is what happens when you have the flash. It makes an enormous difference. So I wanted to really show you guys something and kind of walk you through a shoot versus just showing you a shoot, so you guys can kind of understand my mindset a little bit better. Yes, if I used other modifiers, the light would be softer and I could wrap it around and all that stuff, but this was just a bare bones showing you how to do high-speed sync shoot, and I hope you enjoyed it.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really do. I hope you guys enjoyed the shoot. Amy was an awesome model. A huge thank you to Amy. Thank you to Greg Bird for filming it for me. What a pal he is. He came and took me around all over Tasmania for a couple weeks, and he shot the video and did a great job. I wasn't able to take a videographer in Australia, and he did a wonderful job shooting that. So thank you to Greg. Thank you again to Amy for she's gorgeous and she's just so happy, and she really made the shoot and just gave me some great shots. And thank you guys for watching. So make sure to click on notifications so you get notified every time I release a new video. Like I always say, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams, find the right gear that works for you, and remember, you only have one chance to get it right. Talk to you later. Bye.
You guys still here? Hello? Talking to you. Hey guys, if you want to learn online with me, go to patreon.com/JasonLinnerPhotography, and you will be able to continue this craziness online from anywhere on planet Earth with me. If you want to join me live, go to JasonLinner.com/workshops, and you'll get to see me in my full glory live and in person, guys. I think there's a smudge on there. Is that it? Yeah, I got it. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.